company's website. In simple terms, P, the price the winner pays, is related to the value of bid multiplied by quality. This gets top billing. In this way, Google doesn't just rake in profits, but positions itself as a powerful arbiter of quality and relevance online.
Google will make the entire world's information available to you, and occasionally we'll show you some advertisements. If you want to click on those ads, there might be something very valuable for you to click on, but you don't have to. I think that's the trade.
AdWords is what made Google the dominant player on the web. And very quickly, the rest of the web fell into line behind this model. Offer your products and your services for free while funding it behind the scenes with highly targeted advertising. Now, the irony is that this ultra-capitalist model requires that the web stay true to its non-capitalist roots. It has to remain an open network, easy to search, with no pay-per-view, and no areas that Google can't go. This open vision of the web also requires us users to play our part, consuming the eye candy in a virtual sweet shop of free content. The longer we're online, the more attention we pay, the more information businesses of all kinds can capture, and the more advertising they can sell.
The product online is not the content. The product online is you. The product online are the eyeballs looking at that content, and as much information about how to influence the hands connected to those eyeballs as possible.
But if trading information on web users is the driving principle behind a free web, then where do you stop? Where does the boundary lie between our rights and the search for profits? Today, we are experiencing surveillance that we could never have imagined 20 years ago. Here's one example amongst many: Google's email system. Every time you send a Gmail, it automatically scans the text inside to find keywords that might reveal what it's about. So if you write the word beach in your message, then ads down the side of the page might be about holidays. Or if you write about your pet, then you might get ads for pet accessories, medicine, dog walkers. If you're arranging to go out on the town with friends, ads for the local hotspots might show up. Or recipes for weight loss, then you'll get ads for healthy food or dieting courses. The email service you're getting is free, but Google's computers are listening in on the contents of your email and matching them with advertising that they think might be relevant to you. That is the price that you pay. Google points out that all free webmail services scan email, and that Gmail respects privacy because content is not revealed to outside parties. On their website, they say, "We let you know what information we collect when you use our products and services, why we collect it, and how we use it to improve your experience." But this isn't just about Google and email. Online advertising goes further still. Advertisers are eager to know about our activity right across the web. And so to better understand what we want, they're tracking our browsing habits. It's called behavioral targeting. Think of it like going on a shopping spree and accumulating lots of bags. When you buy something, you become laden with bags. The branding on the bags quickly gives away to onlookers where you've been and what types of things you've been buying, and what you're likely to buy in the future, all of which is very valuable to advertisers. This is how the online version of that works. When we visit a site that contains advertising, the advertising company's server sends back at us a cookie, a tiny file that identifies our computer uniquely. Now, as we surf the web, The cookie, in effect, tracks where we go, registering our interests with the advertising company. They then target adverts more accurately. Visit a car site, get car ads. Visit a travel site, get travel ads. It's that simple, yet also for many, deeply worrying.
By monitoring somebody's web behaviour, you can build up a picture of who they're talking to, what they're reading, what they consume, and that can be an incredibly intimate and potentially powerful profile of somebody's life.
Many of these judgments can only be quite poorly made out because they don't know the context you're in. So if somebody's looking up material on cancer, is that for me? Is that for a friend? Is it for a piece of coursework? And, of course, real decisions can follow from that.
I'm really not so vexed by behavioural advertising and targeting. I think that as long as it's transparent at some level and you, the consumer or the user, have the ability to find out what is being kind of used to your benefit, your supposed benefit, then I feel quite relaxed about it and actually think that it can be an exciting leap forward.
So, we've seen that we pay for web search through being targeted with advertising. We pay for some email systems by having our emails scanned for advertising opportunity. And we pay for browsing sites by being tracked through cookies.
Consumers are becoming the consumed. We are watched and traded. If this wasn't enough, web commerce seems to be evolving one step further and perhaps in a more troubling direction. It's attempting to bury itself deeper in our minds, to try to shape what it is that we want before we even know that we want it. And this is where the old .coms come back into our story.
Like Google, today many online retailers have got clever in collecting and analyzing information on their customers.
We study your past purchase history and then use that in a statistical way to make predictions about what other things in this massive catalog of products that you might be interested in.
What Jeff Bezos is talking about is a whole new level of interaction with customers and something that's defining the new commercialized web. Recommendation engines.
As you start looking for cameras, you start to see people who looked at this also looked at that. People who bought this, people who clicked at this bought that. You know, in the course of your clicking, the service becomes more useful to you.
One way to think about that is we're sort of redecorating the store for each customer who walks in. If you think about a physical store, that would be impossible. You can't run around and rearrange the furniture and put the products that that particular individual customer might like most up front. Very, very difficult. But in an online store, of course, you can do that. You can redecorate the store for each individual customer. You can help people find things that they might not have ever been able to find any other way.
Recommendation engines enable businesses to constantly personalize their offerings to match our interests and behavior. This intimate knowledge of customers gives web companies a head start in competition with real-world retailers. One of the best examples is how it's helping Netflix, an entirely web-based film rental company, to rival the bricks and mortar giant Blockbuster.
We look at movies as a really rich area to try to understand human behavior and how to create a better experience than any other video system so that people watch more and more movies.
Fundamental to their business is a computer algorithm called Cinematch that uses customers' preferences to identify other DVDs that they might like.
Movie taste is very personalized. But what we realized is if we ask people to tell us what other movies they've loved in the past, that our computer systems can do a really good job of helping them choose movies that they're more likely to enjoy in the future.
Netflix now has over 12 million subscribers and a turnover of $1.5 billion per year. Millions of people obviously enjoy these recommendation systems and are happy with what they get in return. But I worry that in the process, perhaps we've lost something. I wonder if recommendation systems don't defeat the point of the web. Isn't the vast possibility that the web offers for serendipity to bring us unexpected new ideas from accidental encounters being replaced by a process that apparently broadens our horizons but actually sells us the same things?
Amazon, because we carry universal selection, really dehomogenizes culture. It lets people pick the products that they want. You get to read the books that you want, not just the books that were cherry-picked and hand-selected to fit into a store of a certain size.
But just because the web now enables us to choose from a vast selection, that doesn't mean we actually take up the opportunity. Faced with overwhelming choice, consumers tend to stick to what they know. In practice, what's become apparent is that we still huddle together in groups that confirm our existing beliefs. Now, for companies who want to sell us things, manipulating that little aspect of our psychology means massive financial returns.
Some of the chance and some of the spontaneity has to be ironed out of the system for it to work. I mean, it's not a randomizer. I mean, it's doing something very deliberate. It's doing a kind of collaborative filtering, as it was called early on, and it's finding patterns, and it's trying to use those patterns to sell you something.
Recommendation engines are very good at figuring out what people like me would do and telling me what that is, so I can then find out what people like me do. I can become much more like a person like me.
We are 100% about trying to improve our consumers' enjoyment of movies. And we help them get the movies that they're going to laugh at most, cry the most, love the most. It's all about pleasing the consumer. And if that narrows, that's fine. If that broadens, that's fine.
Recommendation engines, by telling me what people like me do and encouraging me to be like a person like me, they help me to become more prototypically one of my kind of person. And the more like one of my kind of person I become, the less me I am, and the more I am a demographic type.
It may be too early to judge the long-term cultural impact of recommendation systems, but I feel that there is a deeper and more pressing concern about how we pay for a free web and our massive use of online retail. We are actively contributing to vast databases of information about ourselves. 16 years of web commerce has utterly transformed what privacy means in the 21st century.
Wind beneath my wings. 60 single men. Fear that spouse contemplating cheating. How to kill oneself by natural gas. Numb fingers. Dog that urinates on everything. Foods to avoid when breastfeeding. These are real people's intimate thoughts. Just a tiny fragment of searches made anonymously by people who believed that they were using their computer in private. In 2006, the American computer giant AOL released a file containing every search made by 650,000 of their users over the previous 3 months. Each user was identified only by a numerical code. But one journalist at the New York Times was concerned that these outwardly anonymous searches, in fact, were so personal that they would reveal the identity of the searcher. How long would it take to unmask them?
One kind of popped out at me, I think in part because it had a lot of searches that were obviously local searches, like, landscapers in Lilburn, Georgia was the one query. And that's not something you're going to look for if this is some town, across the country from you. Chances are you're looking for a local business.
The user was known only as number 4417749, and this person's searches soon became much more intimate.
There were a lot of searches for medical ailments, effects of nicotine. There were some things about depression,
paranoia,
a whole bunch about paranoia. We sort of thought this was maybe an older, lonely man